You are now listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report, Flash Report.
Shout out to the fam, man. PPR representing. Much love to the fam. We up in this thing for another episode of the Pelican Postgame Report. Is Big Q chopping it up, man. The Flash is in the building. Shout out to the flock, man. Please feel free to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and share the show on your social media feed. We're up in this thing. And of course, this Flash Report, man, is kind of an extended Flash Report to cover some of the items of news that we have. We also be popping up tomorrow for the Pelican Postgame Report, the PPR final, recapping the play-in game against the Sacramento Kings. Let's just go over some stuff, man. This came across my desk. Some family members sent me, and I also wanted to cover some of this stuff about Brandon Ingram. Is there an issue here that we need to be aware of? And of course, we have Zion Williamson basically is being said, and this is no secret anymore, that he's pretty much out for the rest of the postseason. This is what pretty much guys like Wojnarowski just talked about. He made mention of the fact that Zion Williamson is pretty much out. I said for the foreseeable near future, but you know, the Pelicans are just going to have to make do without Zion Williamson, unfortunately. And some of this stuff, man, that we talked about on PPR before, about them needing to step up and show what they can do. And they're going to have to prove themselves, man. And the toughest part about it is they're going to have to galvanize under extreme pressurized situation. The Pelicans have blown 2 opportunities to get W's to ultimately get into the playoffs, not to play in playoffs. You know, they had opportunities. They had the regular season finale against the Lakers and the first play-in game against the Lakers to have an opportunity to get in. So that's 3 times, including this current game against the Kings, a team we've beat 5 times, just dominated them this season. So we'll see how it all goes, man. But I'm going to play some stuff for you guys, man, and we're going to keep it moving, man. We're going to start it off with some of this stuff first and foremost about Zion Williamson. Yeah, let's get into it. So y'all hit the like button. Appreciate y'all spending some time with me on the stream. This is what Woj had to say about Zion if you didn't hear earlier, though. Here we go. All right. So anyway, if you didn't hear, now you heard about the Zion thing. So Zion is out of the way. It's nothing to talk about in terms of Zion Williamson right now that can help the Pelicans on court. Now, off court could be the biggest cheerleader they have to keep the morale up. But in terms of on the court, no Zion. But we do have BI. This is a report here that we're going to cover into the Stephen A. crap that he's talking about, the Pelican star Brandon Ingram's body language. And then there are reports about him, how he acted at the end of the game. He didn't like the fact that he wasn't, he didn't play in the fourth quarter. And could there be strife here? A lot of reports are coming out saying that it's not official reports, but a lot of rumorville stuff that there's strife going on between the two. But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. This is Stephen A. Smith, who made some commentary about Brandon Ingram that I like to talk about. So here we go.
He's had so many setbacks. He's really in much better condition the second half of this season. He had worked so hard. Guys, he was going at LeBron James and Anthony Davis and winning. He was getting into them at both ends of the court. He had 40 points with 3 minutes to go. His second career 40-point game in a play-in game on his home court. This is what you want from Zion. You want playmaking on defense and want the ball and taking it to the rim on offense. Can't stop it. It was great. And then he comes up lame, and you could see in his eyes that he knew he was hurt, and he's had these muscle injuries in his legs before, and we'll wait for the MRI before we make any assumptions, but he knew that he's in trouble. And now they've actually beaten the Kings 5 times this year, which is unbelievable that you're 5-0 against them, including the in-season tournament. But to beat them a 6th time, they may have to do it without Zion.
Yeah.
And in this game, it was a very professional win for the Lakers because they didn't have their best stuff. LeBron was exhausted by the 4th quarter in this game. And I'll give LeBron credit. He stepped up and took the Zion defensive assignment for a lot of this game, and he did it on Sunday in what was a much-win game. But LeBron was paying the price by the 4th quarter. His legs were gone. I think it was one.
What is this dude talking about, man? He stepped up. These people are so quick to just give credit to the Lakers all the time. Zion scored 40 points, man. What does he step up and take the defensive assignment for? To stop him from scoring 50? What are these people talking about? Anyway, let's carry on.
8 down the stretch, threw up an air ball late, which Anthony Davis, he's dealing with his own back injury. He wasn't having a great night. It was 6 of 16, but he rebounded. The Lakers, really got a great performance from D'Angelo Russell. He made a big steal in the last 2 minutes, hit the biggest shot of the game. Austin Reeves set him up. The Lakers ground this game out, and they're 14-5 in their last 19 games. And their reward, unfortunately, is that beast, Nikola Jokic. I do think that the takeaway from this game is that Zion
All right, fam. That was some of the stuff that Windhurst was talking about. Let me kind of move it along here to get to Stephen A. Smith. Here we go.
cheering. He's over there sitting on the bench with a puss on his face. That was a problem. He's up for an extension this off. That was a problem. He's up. And Brandon Ingram got benched for the last 7 minutes of this game. His team was all cheering. He's over there sitting on the bench with a puss on his face. That was a problem.
What, a what on his face? He had a what on his face? Oh, well, anyway, let's carry on.
He's up for an extension this offseason. That's an issue. Yep. And C.J. McCollum got benched for a big part of the 4th quarter in this game, too. This was not a high-level game. This was survival of who could ever hang on. But the Lakers did. They get credit for that.
I got a few things I want to say about this. Number one, I was incredibly proud of Zion. I gotten on him. New Orleans gotten on me. And I had to remind them that they have as many playoff series victories in their 22-year history as they do names.
And they got more names than you have points in your supposed to be basketball career, which turned out to be a lie. That never happened. So there you go. They're better than you.
Okay. It wants the Hornets, they're not the Pelicans. Those are the 2 names, and they got 2 playoff series victories in 22 years. Shut the hell up and go out there and play. And for the most part,
industry plant. They have more wins than you have points averaged in your career. There we go.
They've done that, especially Zion. He's gotten focused. He got himself in shape. And after another no-show in the regular season finale on Sunday, he showed up, showed some pride, showed some heart, was demanding the basketball, was in attack mode. That dude that we saw yesterday before he got hurt is the number 1 pick we've been looking for. Okay? That's who he is. And I loved seeing it. I was proud of him. I'm sorry that his leg is hurt. I think he'll be fine. But if Zion holds on to that, he's got an incredibly, incredibly bright future. I'm talking about that psyche. That's how he has to be all the time. All the time. He's got to be in attack mode because he's a man-child. And you can't stop him. So that was a beautiful thing to see. Brandon Ingram. I'm not giving him the max. And I usually don't say stuff like that because I love the brothers to get paid. I love them to get their paper. I love them to get money. But
then he says why he shouldn't get the paper and why he shouldn't get the money. Dude do this all the time. Slap kind of commentary. Before he says some hateful stuff, he'll then back it down and water it down before he says the hateful stuff. Very common trick he always uses, but it's what he is.
Let me just say this as diplomatically as I possibly can. When you look at his face, he consistently looks a bit detached, dare I say. Just doesn't seem to be all there.
This dude, man, That's
And I'm going to leave it at that. Now, let me tell you something. He was gone for 12 games. And I understand that. He had an injury. I get that. And we know that Brandon Ingram is a big-time talent. We don't see it enough. We don't see it enough. And I look at him, physique looks the same, game looks the same, doesn't seem to be growing and evolving. That's hard to invest in. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people invest money in you, one part is because of your production. The other part is because they trust that you will continue to produce. And I don't know if the word trust can be associated with Brandon Ingram at this point. He needs to show me something against Sacramento.
all right. Number one, let me delve into this right quick about what he's saying about Brandon Ingram. Couldn't be far from the truth when he talk about Brandon Ingram's face. This goes to show you these people sit up here and they do commentary on the Pelicans, and they don't watch the Pelicans consistently. They don't watch the Pelicans consistently. This is the problem I got with people like this. You don't watch them unless they're on primetime TV, and Brandon Ingram's face, Stephen Smith, if you really want to talk about his face, that's the same face you get all the time. Brandon Ingram is a very calm dude. Now, he has his times when he gets bucked and do his thing, but he's always a smooth dude. He's always, that's what he's been. Now, we would want him to be more aggressive in terms of coming out of that. And you see him like one of the games where he was hitting all those threes. You seen him have, out there making faces. But for the most part, he's smooth. He's calm. He's cool. That's what Brandon Ingram is. Now, you talking about you haven't seen enough from Brandon Ingram. Granted, over the last couple of games since he came back from the injury, his numbers have been down. His minutes has been down. And he hasn't been as productive as he's been. But since he's been with the Pelicans, he's taken leaps and bounds in terms of his maturity, his scoring, his overall play. And when Zion Williamson wasn't available, B.I. was the guy on the team leading the team in scoring. The offense ran through him. He was the number one option. We just started seeing Zion this year become the number one option for the Pelicans later on in the year after the All-Star break, when B.I., of course, we started seeing them go to Zion because B.I. wasn't there. But when B.I. came back, the first game he came back 2 games ago, the offense changed and it started to go what it was away from Zion, and they failed because that's a whole nother damn show. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, you can't be more wrong about Brandon Ingram and what he's brought. He can step his game up, but he's been a solid player for the Pelicans. Case in point, let's look at his averages, man. Let's talk stats for a second, fam. Granted, his numbers are down this year. In 64 starts this year, he's in 33 minutes. He's averaged 21 points a game. That's nothing to spit at for a guy like Brandon. He's averaging 21 points a game this season. 5 assists. Almost 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Now, since he came over from the Lakers, everything has been exploding across the board in terms of his production. He's averaged 24 points his first year with the Pelicans, 24 points his second year, 23 points, 25 points, and then this year's 21 points. He's been a solid player for the Pelicans. So we expect there's a rust factor after missing a dozen games, but at the same time, does he, as a player, and BI is making what, $30 million a season? The last couple of games, you could say, yes, we had a problem there. But also, you can also talk to the other end about the coaching not being able to get Zion and BI to complement each other as well as they could have. Like, we see a lot of these different combos throughout the league. Head coach Willie Green said that he believes that his combo of Zion and BI is one of the tops, if not, he said the best combo in the league, which is, somewhere up there. But my take is, based on scheme and how they use them both together on the court at the same time, because prior to this year, we didn't have a large sample size serving of Zion and BI playing together. We didn't see it up until this year. And then when it really started to get going, you started seeing Bill in the camaraderie. You see then BI get hurt, and then Zion carry the day. And when BI comes back, Zion is hurt. So this is what it's been over the last several years. But without that, Brandon Ingram has been a solid Pelican for us. He's been a solid player for us. He's been option 1 for the Pelicans. So I don't want people to start thinking that it's totally Brandon Ingram and not so much start looking at the coaching staff to better understand how to betterly utilize Brandon Ingram in league with Zion Williamson and with everybody else. So, I mean, just the commentary a lot of times, man, we could talk about some of the stuff that goes on, like with Stephen A. Smith's reaction about, well, he's this, that, in his face. He don't look like he's all there or whatever effeminate bullshit he kicked. But the thing is, if you watch the Pelicans, you know that B.I. is a smooth dude. He's a calm figure. He's calm. That's his game. He goes out there, he hits that mid-range, he tears your ass up. Now, like I said, he could play better over the last couple of games. There's obviously something to it, to the fact that he didn't like the fact that he didn't play in the fourth quarter of the last matchup with him, and they can talk about that, and there's a lot of stuff going on, man, that talks about that in terms of what's going on with BI. Let me play this one for you for the All NBA, All Ball podcast and what they had to say about Brandon Ingram and his situation. I'll comment on this as well. Let me add this to it. Then we'll keep it going. Very interesting stuff we got going here, man. Very interesting.
That thing, even though I'm sure it's tough for him. But Legs, we've spent all year doing the show. We love the NBA. We're so passionate about basketball, but we hate, when games don't feel like they mean something, regular season, when players treat them like that. The meaning of the regular season is subtle. Any one game doesn't feel like it means a lot, but you miss too many games. And then the question is, does this team know who it is? And what all year I've been saying about the New Orleans Pelicans is they're a two-faced team, because when they're great, they look unbelievable. But I don't know if they know who they are. And this is why their clutch record hasn't been great this year. They haven't won a lot of close games. Do you know who you are when you have to go into the foxhole? And last night, going away from CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, some of that was riding the hot hand, a lineup that was working, maybe matchup this or that. But some of it, to me, is the point that you're just making here. Why was Brandon Ingram throwing a fit? That's a team that has not figured out who they are in the foxhole, and they found themselves in the foxhole for the very first time, and it was revealed that there was this uncertainty. That's my read on it. And look, some of this is injuries. Zion and Ingram have missed a lot of time. I don't want to blame and say, hey, sometimes they're real injuries, but they might have missed more, too much time with their injuries to really know who they are.
I completely agree with all of that. And I think that the bottom line is this. If you're Brandon Ingram, like whether you have the personality type or not, and he's kind of one of those sort of laid back dudes, right? He's always got kind of that sleepy look on his face, but he's very ultra talented. You're one of the leaders, whether you like it or not. You're one of the leaders of the team. And this is an opportunity. Now, look, truth of the matter is maybe some of it that plays into this is it's not the end of the world to lose the game. Maybe that's part of it. It's not. Think about it now. You go ahead and hold home court. Now, look, the Zion situation, that throws a wrinkle into this. That's totally different. I don't know what his status is going to be, but if you came out of that game, I can't imagine you being ready to play the next game, because this is a muscular thing, right? And I still haven't heard, by the way, is it thigh? Is it his quad, his hammy, his groin? No one knows. It was the weirdest thing for that to lead to him leaving the game. But anyway, we'll get more information on that. So that could be all bets off in terms of their ability to win the next game. But you didn't know it while this was all going on. Brandon Ingram sitting there. You have another game you think you're going to play, and you're probably going to beat the Warriors or Kings. That's the way you look at it. And then you get to actually play Oklahoma City, not Denver. So in a lot of ways, the penalty for losing the game wasn't significant enough maybe to elicit a different reaction out of Brandon Ingram. But I just think no matter what, you cannot show yourself like that publicly for everybody to see. That's for total consumption, for everyone to watch. You sitting there refusing to stand up like every other player of the team that's on the bench and standing up during that rally. You can't do it. And then sort of disengaged during the huddles, kind of standing there, hands on hips, looking into the huddle, disinterested. You got to be kidding me. Willie Green deserved better, man. Zion deserved better. Like, those guys deserve better, all of those guys. So I'm being harsh on Brandon Ingram, but I'm sorry. It's a huge, huge pet peeve for me. And I get how ticked off you are. I totally get that, man. You better keep that under or behind the curtain until you get out of the building.
All right, that's just all NBA podcast where they were giving some talk. It's a couple of NBA insiders there breaking it down. But like I said, man, there's a lot going on now between the Pelicans right now. They need to be focused on winning. Zion is done. for the foreseeable future. Won't help the Pelicans in this matchup, the play-in matchup, or the playoffs. So the Pelicans have to dig in. The great news about it, and I said before, the Pelicans are a deep team. They're a very deep team. So it's up to Willie Green, man. It's really up to Willie Green. He, Zion is a force, and he, you can't match up with him. But the Pelicans will have to find a way to make this work, man. They're gonna have to find a way. But the good news is when you talk about like the Pelicans, hold on, I think I got his statistics up here. BI's stats against the Kings, man. How he plays when he goes up against the Kings, man. He has phenomenal stats against the Kings. Let me see if I can pull his stuff up right quick. That's phenomenal stats against the Kings. I mean, phenomenal. So, I mean, his average, you see his average right there. He averages 25 points a game, 5 assists, shoots that 3-point ball against Sacramento, shooting over 55% against this team and 53% from the field against the Kings. So, and he loves to play the Kings. So, I mean, his numbers are high. We're going to need this version of Brandon Ingram against the Kings coming up on Friday. And then if no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Willie Green will be tasked with BI, so we don't have to worry about him the playing time because he wanted to play. He's not gonna. You don't have to worry about that because Zion is not there, so he don't have to worry about trying to mix Zion and BI together to combo them to make those units go. That unit go. Zion is gone, so Brandon Ingram is option one. So he'll have to make it all work. So like I said, BI has a part in this. He could be more aggressive, but my goodness, Willie Green, man. Willie Green has to make this work. You got BI. BI is a dude that can help you. You have CJ there. He's going to have to help to make these guys work. With Najee Marshall, Jose Alvarado, with Larry Nance and Herb and all these guys. He's going to have to take this solid unit that we have and the guys that's coming off the bench, the second line, and he's going to have to make it work. We need a good coaching effort against Willie Green. Got all the talent in the world, man, and a third opportunity to get into the playoffs, man, and it's all of nothing coming up here on Friday. So anyway, my thought process on what Shock Jocks Stephen A. Smith was saying about Brandon Ingram, who contract is up after not this year but next year, that he's due that max that he was talking about, that he wouldn't pay him that max. Well, I think that's based on what you see now. What we're going to see from the Pelicans moving forward, because we don't ultimately know what the plan is in terms of what the Pelicans are going to do. A lot of the stuff that they said that they were going to do they've already done it. Like we thought that Willie Green contract was up after this year. Turns out that they secretly signed Willie Green to an extension late last year and broke it right before the regular season. Just to let y'all know, we signed Willie Green to an extension. They didn't tell you how many years. There's reports that Doc Ock, David Griffin was signed to an extension, and Trajan Langdon. But were they a bit premature on these actions? This is bad decision making at the highest levels. Extensions shouldn't have been handed out until after this year. Because this is a year that a lot of stuff is supposed to be answered. How could we get this team together? Could we do? So it's just amazing the ridiculousness that we see from the Pelicans, that they need to turn this stuff up, man. So anyway, this is a report here from Chris Dodson. He threw this one out there about the Pelicans front office shakeup possible this offseason. Pelicans reportedly face a front office shakeup. How, Chris? Who's going to get shook up? The top three people, the VP of basketball operations, David Griffin, Doc Ock, and Trajan Langdon are signed to extensions according to various reports. So, I mean, who are they going to shake up? Cash? What they going to do? Cash? I mean, but then there's also reports about him, particularly he's trying to get a job elsewhere. The last several years, Trajan Langdon has been trying to get the hell out of here. He was trying to go to Washington, who's basically a dumpster fire. He was trying to go to Charlotte. So any GM job that's out there, Trajan Langdon is trying to do it. He's not trying to like advance and become a vice president. He's trying to do a lateral move, just anything to get from up under Doc Octopus. But it's ridiculous. All in his face. These are not really good decisions anyway. But anyway, bringing it back to now, the Pelicans have to win, man. Bottom line. And if they don't win, then shit got to hit the fan. I'm serious. This is the point right here. When we talking about, well, injuries, we got to see what the team look like, Q. We got to get to where we need to be, Q. Well, this is that point. This is the point where you make decisions based on personnel. The decision to not trade Valanciunas, even though you don't really use him that much. I know he ain't ideally the player that Willie Green likes, but you have him and you might as well use him. He's a top 10 big who can play defense, not as fast as you would want, but he can score for you. You get him involved, things happen. So like I'm saying, the Pelicans look like what they look like largely because of coaching. And the coach also breeds the mentality for the team. So Willie Green in his third year has to figure out a way to coach better than he's ever have. He's going to have to elevate his coaching to the next level, if that is even possible. And when I mean next level, I'm talking about basketball, like at that playoff level. We're still stuck in like a regular season mode. We haven't realized as a team that it's playoffs going on. It's still stuck in the regular season mode, man. They have 6 home games. They have a 6 home game losing streak currently. 6 games. They can't buy a win in the Smoothie King Center. People are coming out. They're not booing them or anything. They can't win in the building, and that's something that's psychological. And Willie Green had a few days to work on that. He has to turn this around. So, like when they start criticizing BI, I get what they're saying about BI playing what he played over the last couple of games. But like I said, I always hit you in the face with the stats. If you look at his numbers since he's been a Pelican, he's been a solid player for us, man. I'm going to BS you on that. BI has been a solid player since he's been with the Pelicans. And he played a hell of a lot of games for the Pelicans. Now, his numbers are down than what they were the last several years, but he's averaging 21 points a game. That's nothing to spit at or sneeze at for an NBA player. Just keeping it $115. Now, does he get the max, man? I'll leave that up to you guys to decide on whether or not he should. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me. If that's what's going on, sleep. I see what you're saying, bro. He says Tim was spot on. Stop being so emotional. I actually not really being emotional. I'm defending the points about statistics. You sound more emotional, and you sound like you kind of sleep, brother. You sleeping. You sleeping on the fact that you're trying to, let's trade beyond all this nonsense. But man, listen, man. At the end of the day, you can't dispute the fact you won't trade these players, but you don't have no smoke for these coaches who coaching these damn players. If the system is not set up correctly for them to succeed, then they're not going to succeed together. So at some point, the players have responsibility on the court, excuse me. He's averaging 21 points a game. He played the majority of the game since he's been here. He's been the number one option for the Pelicans longer than Zion has been, because Zion has not been available since he's been here. Somebody had to play. Somebody had to run options. But we don't see none of that. We just won't trade every damn body and not talk about the scheme and the process around them, huh? So like anyway, it's all good, man. At the end of the day, man. Yeah, I had to cook this sleep character because he is sleep. He is sleeping right now on the points, and he really not understanding what's going on with the team. Sometimes you got to put it on where it belongs. The coaches, the players. The players have to step out. BI was mad because he didn't get that playing time. It's the bottom line. He's a competitor. What player you're going to sit down and he wants to play, and he's not going to be a little upset? Let me help you. This is a play-in game. Let me get in there and help. Willie Green said, nah, I'm going to go with who I got, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of a slight philosophy change with Willie. I see you on that. But in the end, it caused some problems with his second best player. But we'll see how they react on Friday, man. So anyway, we'll see, man. All right, brother Hakeem was shaking, baby. He says, I'm ready for us to be a relevant franchise to playoff series. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I'm with you on that. Shout out to you, bro. I get what's going on, man. Listen, man, all I can say in the end, fam, it's probably the longest flash report in history, but I'm just talking to the fam, man. But in the end, if the Pelicans, let me just say it like this. If the Pelicans don't win this game against Sacramento, right? They've beaten them 5 times in the regular season, right? If they don't beat the Sacramento Kings on Friday, then stuff got to get broken up. And even if they do win and they get into OKC, we know they're not going to beat. We never know. I ain't going to say never. But it'll be kind of a difficult matchup against OKC, being that OKC beats the Pelicans. They know how to beat the Pelicans. The Pelicans have a difficult matchup with them. Let's just say it like that. They might get a game, maybe 2 games, if they can get past the Kings in the win. But even if that happens, as an organization, you still need to make some trades. You still need to do some stuff to fix up things. The Pelicans do need a point guard. We've said this all the time. Pelicans need a table-setting point guard. They need a guy that can play the position. I know people like Dyson Daniels. Dyson's game is improving. He's a stellar defensive player. But in terms of offense, his offense is not there. The Pelicans need to see if they can find a point guard there to kind of set the table. And when he's left open, hit 3-point shots, stuff like that, play defense. I mean, there are a few guys that's going to be available out there. They're not working with a lot of money. So it's other questions involved. But the team is in David Griffin's going to have to find, well, not Griffin just alone, but Trajan Langdon is the general manager. They're going to have to find a way to kind of close some of these holes that the team have and be able to move it forward. So anyway, with that being said, fam, listen, I appreciate y'all for chiming in this on this show, man. Much love to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all on this Flash Report. Listen, fam, I will be back in the team. My dog DC and my girl Alexa will be back on the Pelican Postgame Report final tomorrow afternoon with the matchup. So for the family members, the Pelicans and Kings live scoreboard be kicked off on time. And then the recap, the PPR final, will be available after the game is over with, and we'll recap whatever happened. So tough way to beat a team. You got to beat a team 6 times in one season, fam. Listen, 5 times is a lot to ask. 6 times is like you got in the head of the team, and perhaps I'll feel better if the Pelicans were in Sacramento. But that's a tough task. Are they up to it? Can Willie Green get this team motivated enough, family? We've been in the playoffs the last couple of games, playoff environment. We couldn't get it done against the Lakers in the regular season finale. We couldn't get it together against the Lakers in the first playoff game. We couldn't get the motivation to get the entire team to play in that matchup. And now here we are with the last chance we have against the Sacramento Kings. Could we get it? All right, y'all chime in the chat, man. Tell me how y'all feel about what Stephen A. Smith said about Brandon Ingram, the commentary that he made, other commentary that you heard on the other article I played from that other podcast. And what do you guys think? I'd love to hear what you got to say. Chime it in the comment section, and please feel free, man, to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and listen, I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Much love, and go Pels.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.